You're not alone in that, because most of his people that have gone on the record said when he walked in, they were like, I don't like all these roofs up here.
No, and why in the hell you don't have people up there, walking about and doing, and of course these questions have come up in other cases, relative to Butler and all these sorts of things.
So Baron, you were just saying something off air to go back around to some of the sound conversation, the dynamics of that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, when he was talking about sound, he said one of the first things he would do as an investigator is show up and ask people what they heard. And we ran a whole montage of people, witnesses. He wants you to slide that way a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We ran a whole montage of witnesses that were on camera, and they all said they heard a firework or a firecracker or a pop. I talked to a student at UVU the other day, and I asked him the same question. What did you hear? What did it sound like? And he said, it honestly sounded like a balloon popped. And I was like, well, where were you? And he said, I was 10 feet to Charlie's left. He said, I was like 2 or 3 rows up, maybe 15 feet. And I said, you didn't hear like a loud boom, like a rifle boom? He said,
Crack.
no.
Yeah.
He was over there.
He was to Charlie's
Like
left.
to our right. Yeah.
To our right.
Okay.
To our right, looking at him. And he said, I just heard a pop. I said, did you hear like a boom, boom? Like something you'll hear, if you're downrange, you'll hear the crack, and then you'll hear the boom behind it. And he said, no, there was no second sound. It was just a loud pop, like a balloon. And all the different people that said they thought someone was shooting off a firework or a firecracker. Is that what you would expect with a 30-06?
Yeah. Oh, okay. With a 30-06. Well, again, it all depends on where you're positioned relative to it, and where the shooter, if it is someone shooting a 30-06, where they are positioned relative to the rest of the crowd. I'd be very curious if because there have been cases out there where they have audio people that actually come in and do audio mapping, of cases like this. Feds have done it before. What could you hear? And the other thing that there's so many dynamics that can impact the way you hear things at a scene. In this case, if you got somebody that's in an elevated position, how is that sound going to disperse into the air, as opposed to being flat on a flat range if you're firing a rifle, where you can hear the concussion of it, kind of traveling out at that moment in time. So and this is such an odd setup. Again, got to tell y'all, if I was, and I'm not, never want to be, but just, and everybody can Monday morning quarterback, this is not the position I would want my guy in. Because it is a bowl. I mean, it's a death trap.
Oh yeah,
down
he's
there,
looking up at the watchtower.
Yeah. And it's a horrible circumstance to be in.
You're not alone in that, because most of his people that have gone on the record said when he walked in, they were like, I don't like all these roofs up here.
No, and why in the hell you don't have people up there, walking about and doing. And of course, these questions have come up in other cases, relative to Butler and all these sorts of things. And
well, speaking of direction of sound, he has a video. This is a video. You can see the people still running away and dispersing. So this was seconds afterwards.
Right.
Okay.
This
is the one you sent him?
Yeah, this is the one I just sent him. Yeah. These people are standing just to position you.
Go this way a little bit. Sorry.
Just to position you. These people are standing between the Losi Center and the tent.
Gotcha.
They are on the ledge directly in front of it. Mm-hmm. So if the shot was 138 yards, these people are maybe 20 yards in front of the alleged shot. Mm-hmm. And so...
All right, let's play it.
Jeez. It was down there. So it was down here. Yeah.
The shot came from down there?
Shot came from down there, they said.
That's insane.
The roof is here.
Well, I deleted it.
Yeah, so the shot, the alleged shot, would have come from behind the perspective of this camera. They're pointing down towards the tent and saying, the shot came from down there. Mm-hmm. I again, there's no one single piece of evidence I look at and say, that was not a 30-06 from the roof. But I see something like that, and those are eyewitnesses.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Immediately. I mean, these are basically excited utterances, and they're saying the shot came from down there.
Down there. Yeah.
Is there a way that I'm really unfamiliar with the science of sound and what it can bounce off of in a situation like this? is there a way that because of the buildings around there and the nature of the fishbowl atmosphere that the sound could have traveled? So again, you don't know it's coming either, so you're reacting to it, so you have to try to remember it afterwards. But they are instantly recording this, which is great because it's their instant memory. Is there a way that sound could have traveled in such a way that it reflects off some sort of walling or building that could make it appear like it went from somewhere else?
It's certainly, it's certainly something that's you have to entertain. Again, I keep going back to Kennedy, and you think about there in the buildings, of course, there in Dealey Plaza that are surrounding that area are a lot higher, and that's going to impact the way that sound is dispersed in this environment. But you still have structures. It's not like you're out on the open prairie here, okay? So yeah, all of that has to be factored in. Even the people have to be factored in, because I submit to you that if you have a fixed point of an origin of sound, if you've got nobody down there and you've got 3,000 people down there, even the presence of human bodies is going to impact the way the sound is going to travel, depending upon where the point of origin is. If it's down on the ground, okay, it's going to disperse differently than if it's, superior to everybody else. Okay. In my opinion, but what do I know? I'm not a sound engineer. When
we brought that up in the break, you also mentioned, though, like the Las Seis Letras and their pager operation, referring to Mossad, and like how that would have worked from, like, I think you were referring to it from, was that from a sound perspective you were talking about that?
No, I was talking about how savage it is. Like when just the pagers, when you see, and the one that stands out in my mind is the guy, I think he looks like he's in a grocery store. I think he's adjacent to like a fruit, like fruit bins and all that sort of stuff. And when this thing detonates, it's very violent. It's a tremendous amount of smoke and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, we can't show that, Deef, but we can watch it in here. Okay. So they're in the store.
I don't know if I want to watch it.
And
then they cut away.
Oh, did they cut away before?
Yeah.
Well, no, because it gave me a warning before the video, so it should have.
They may have clipped it out anyway.
They took it out.
Good thing we didn't show it.
Yeah, for the best. Okay. But you were saying, Joseph?
Yeah, it's just, that, just referring to that itself, nothing relative to audio. I was just merely talking about what a violent event that was. And you can see everybody in that space, and it's a very tight space. Reacting to that. And you'll have that kind of concussive event that goes forward in a contained area like that, in the, whatever that is, a bodega or whatever the hell that is when this thing detonates. And it's very impressive, to see it, just physically viewing it. You can kind of see that cloud and that burst like that. And that guy reacts very violently. That's the victim right there.
Yeah. You can see him totally.
Even the hat, the hat flies off. All these sorts of things.
I just thought of this actually because Deef, we pulled up a bunch of videos that we're going to be referring to in a few minutes here on the break. There's another one though, the side profile of Charlie that shows the back of his shirt. React, you know what I'm talking about, and I believe there's a chain back there as well
that lifts up.
That lifts up as well. Can we get that from a timing perspective? And while you're doing that, let's talk about one other thing. Baron, you have discussed publicly a picture that you are in possession of that you had a chance to show Joseph as well, which I'll let you describe past this, but it at least shows Charlie's body sometime shortly after this. And on the shirt, there is, I think, what you described as dead space, meaning like there's blood and then a bunch of space where there's not blood about right. Steve, can you do camera 1 for this right here? So there's a bunch of space about right here where there's not blood, and then blood up here, blood down here.
Right.
And you were, and I was too.
What appears to be blood?
That's right. He's learning.
There you go. Gold star, man.
What appears to be blood, but that struck me as weird, and it struck you as weird. What about you?
No. Oh, well, going back to my example of the self-harm people, with firearms.
Unaliving.
Thank you. And I'm just talking about from that perspective, what we see relative to blood deposition. And one of the areas that we kind of dance in forensics is blood deposition, blood splatter, that sort of thing. So when you'll have somebody that's in a position, and I'm not referring to Charlie here, I'm referring in general,
Okay.
all right? So you can have absent space, and it's a good pickup because it's a question. I've actually got an image that I show in my class of a guy that was in this position. He's got blood down his legs. He's got blood around his collar. And then, but he laid back on a bed, and then there's nothing here. And he bled profusely. All right. But there's that initial blast where it kind of poured onto his legs, but this area was protected. It had specific margins to it. And you can appreciate that sometimes with blood deposition. And that explains it. It all depends on the attitude, physical attitude of the subject that you're talking about, where they were positioned. And again, people don't think about this. Your clothes move independent of your body. They do not move. They do not move in concert with your body to the degree that they're like a second skin on your body. They're going to arrange dependent upon how they're physically constructed, how you're dressed. Is it tucked in? Is it out? All these kind of dynamics play into it.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge, huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.